Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing very well. So the Golden Globes were last night and I thought I'd share my thoughts on the winners, the losers, the telecast itself, and of course, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association controversies that came out earlier this week. I have a lot of thoughts to share about all of that. But before we dive into said thoughts, as per usual, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and make sure you turn on your notifications so that you can be told when I upload next. Without further ado, let's dive right into this. So first off, let's start off with the controversies that surrounded the Hollywood Foreign Press Association that came out earlier this week. Now, there were several allegations that were made and we're just going to be quickly going through each of them. The first one, of course, is the one that made all of the headlines and was very much the topic of conversation for the last few days, and that was the reveal that there are no black members in the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. Now, to fully understand the meaning of this and the implications of this, first of all, you kind of need to have an understanding of what the Hollywood Foreign Press Association is to begin with. So this is a body of journalists. We'll talk about that in a second. This is a body of journalists that are comprised of 87 members, and they are the ones who are in charge of the Golden Globes. They vote on who should be nominated and ultimately who should win the Golden Globes, and they are in charge of, watching a ton of films and making their decisions based off of the quality of the films that are presented to them that year so that they can nominate them for these prestigious awards. So much to unpack there. But first of all, let's start off with the idea of them being presented a ton of films and a ton of TV shows in order to consider for these awards. It is so important when you have such a huge task, especially for such a small body. Again, we'll talk about that in a moment. It's so important for that body to be as diverse as possible, because how else are you going to ensure that you're able to look at these films and these TV shows from different perspectives? Now, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association is supposed to represent different countries around the world. I really want to highlight this because it's not as if they're supposed to be just some small body that's supposed to just represent American cinema. Even that would be reductive, but the whole world, there is definitely a responsibility there to ensure that your body represents the world that you're trying to give the perspective from. So I feel like it is abysmal. It is abysmal to hear that they don't even have a single black member in their body. It makes no goddamn sense and it is entirely inexcusable. There are black people in America. I'm sorry. there are millions of black people in America, and there are many black people who comment on films and who are film journalists. So I don't understand where the scarcity is. There is no scarcity. They've created a sense of false scarcity. Why don't they have a single black person on their board? It makes no goddamn sense. And even still, there's a whole continent of black people. There's a whole continent of black people. It's called Africa. Oh my honestly, in some ways it's more of an achievement for them to have not included a black person in their board, because how has this happened? It makes no goddamn sense. And look, I'm particularly frustrated obviously because I'm black, okay? I'm black and I love film, okay? I love cinema. I have a whole channel talking about films and TV shows. So imagine my dismay and constant disappointment when I see headlines like this, because these headlines, they make the news and celebrities will tweet about it, and for 48 hours people will really care, but then the care starts to dissipate and it's no longer an urgent issue. We move on to the next news story of the day and this issue fails to be resolved, and that's how you end up with the Hollywood Foreign Press Association still continuing to promise to revise its board members and its inclusivity and diversity in the organization in 2021. You're still promising to take a look. You're still promising to investigate. What is there to investigate? You guys are frauds. Those members were really standing there on stage last night acting like they'd never seen a single black person in their lives. They'd never seen a single black person. What? Black people? What? Oh, we didn't realized, okay, well, we'll look into that, I guess. Like, come on, really? And to be honest, I would be lying if I sat here and said that I was shocked and surprised that there wasn't a single black person in the Hollywood Foreign Press Association body. But that still doesn't change the fact that I was slightly disappointed that that was the case. Not even a single one. In 20 years, mind you, this isn't a new development. In 20 years, in 2 decades, they didn't notice that there wasn't a single black person amongst them. Really? So those were my thoughts on the anti-blackness part of the controversy surrounding the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. They need to get on that immediately. And even still, I won't forgive them for it because it won't feel genuine at this point. They've just been backed into a corner. But then let's talk about the corruption. Let's talk about the corruption controversy, because I feel like that's being lost in the conversation somewhat conveniently. I very much feel like the Hollywood Foreign Press Association were like, okay, so there were 3 major accusations against us and one of them is trending, so let's just focus on that one. Let's just focus on that one, because not enough people are highlighting the fact that there were other accusations made against the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, that they basically take bribes, which they refer to as hospitality, from film studios in order to get their films considered for these awards. And to be honest, this is another one that I wasn't really shocked and surprised about either, because people have made jokes about this for years. For years upon years, everyone has known that the Hollywood Foreign Press Association can kind of be judged, okay, can kind of be nudged in the right direction if you have a big enough paycheck. But I feel like because it's been constantly joked about, the severity of the situation hasn't really settled in until now. Like, it doesn't really have that same weight to it until you hear that it's part of an investigation, until you hear that it's part of an actual controversy, as opposed to one of Ricky Gervais's, opening speeches. So I feel like this is very much being lost in the conversation as people direct their attention towards the fact that there are no black people in the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. But I just want it known that I'm paying attention to this as well, okay? I can pay attention to more than one thing, and let me tell you that this is worrying as hell. And we're going to talk about why it is that these awards are so important, even though they really shouldn't be, in a second. But I also did briefly want to mention that the third part of the controversy surrounded the credentials of the journalists who are a part of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, because they're supposed to be a body of incredibly acclaimed journalists who cover film and the industry. The members are supposed to be journalists who have credentials that back up their credibility and their reputability. But it turns out that that has been called into question in the case of some of the journalists who are a part of the body. And that is also very worrying to me, because now you're telling me that you guys aren't even good at your jobs. Like, what? The one job that they have is to be, acclaimed journalists / film critics who cover film and the industry and television in a reputable way, so that when they're analyzing the films that are presented to them as part of awards campaigns, you can feel like, even if we already know that they're a tiny body and that their word doesn't mean much, at least it means something. Like, at the very least, it would mean something if they were reputable journalists. But now even that has been called into question. So I'm sitting here thinking, what are we doing? What are we doing? So let's quickly touch on why all of this matters, because ultimately it doesn't, or at least it shouldn't, because they're just handing out, shiny trophies to rich people who are already accomplished, okay? They already have success outside of these awards campaigns. So, why does any of this matter? Certainly not to, you and me, the ordinary people. But the fact of the matter is that the awards do actually matter. Awards season does actually matter for certain kinds of filmmakers. And these tend to be filmmakers who are lesser known, and they tend to be filmmakers from diverse backgrounds. People of color who enter the film industry with a huge disadvantage because it's so much harder for them to get their projects out there, but they manage to do so, and they manage to get it, through an awards campaign. And for that to not even be considered because of some unconscious biases or, just pure ignorance of members of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association is a huge shame. And ultimately, the only way to combat this is to ensure that there is diversity in the Hollywood Foreign Press Association amongst its members, because otherwise those unconscious biases, that ignorance will win out, and we will see the same sort of films being nominated time and time and time time again. And also what we need to keep in mind is that even though these Golden Globes may not have a huge impact on the lives of the already rich and famous and, you know, highly acclaimed actors and actresses and filmmakers, it does have a huge impact on those smaller, lesser known filmmakers who are able to make a name out of themselves because of their attachment to these awards. Saying that you have a Golden Globe, for better or for worse, is a big deal because it means that your projects will be greenlit by studios. Studios' ears will start to perk up about your ideas or any scripts that you may have or any kind of storytelling that you might want to do, whether it be on the big screen or the small screen. It can really propel your career forward, and that could also influence the types of films that we end up seeing as an audience, because ultimately even audiences are aware of awards like the Oscars and indeed the Golden Globes. And so if you see those bloody globes those bloody globes on those posters, and the poster says, you know, Golden Globe nominee, whether it's an actress or a director, you know, audiences' ears perk up as well. And many of us think, well, okay, if this was nominated for an award, that means it must be good. You know, we have the stamp of approval from the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. Let's go check it out. So it really is a big deal, even though ultimately it shouldn't be. And ultimately, all of this power should not belong in the hands of 87 members of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. It's ridiculous that they have that much power, but they do. And I think it is important to acknowledge that rather than just dismissing or belittling it if we're trying to create a path forward. Okay, so now let's talk about the big winners and indeed losers of last night. Now, if you've already watched my 2 videos talking about the nominations for this year's Golden Globes, you'll already have an idea of the nominees that I did want to win and the ones that I predicted would actually win. So if you haven't already, check out those videos. I have separate ones for the movie and TV show category, so have fun with them. I was very feisty in those videos, okay, because I was super annoyed when I saw those initial nominations lists, but it's been a few weeks now. I've calmed down okay, I've mellowed out, so we're just going to be talking about the winners of last night. So first one up, I did of course want to start off this video by acknowledging the amazing win of Chadwick Boseman for his performance in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I think this is wholly deserved. I very much saw this coming, of course. I think many people did, but I do still think that it is very deserved. First of all, for his performance in that film itself, because it is truly excellent, but also of course to honor his performances and to honor his life's work in the industry. I feel like his Golden Globe here was very much an honorary award in that way, to kind of acknowledge the incredible sacrifice and incredible contributions that he made to the industry. And I think that's just right, quite frankly, because as we've already seen, all of the awards are about politics. All of the awards are about, you know, other extraneous factors that aren't just about the performance that we see on screen. And whether you like that or not, that is just the case. And I do think the fact that he will no longer have an opportunity to give us another performance, that very much would have swayed the Hollywood Foreign Press Association to give him this award, especially considering that his performance in the film was excellent. And I will just quickly say that his wife's speech, oh god, his wife's speech was truly emotional, okay? I mean, she looked so beautiful, but it was so heartbreaking to see her accepting this award on his behalf. That must have been so painful. I just felt so bad for her, and I wish her well. And I hope that Chadwick will continue to get recognition for his role in Ma Rainey. And I also hope that she, you know, finds peace and comfort in this awards season, as well as being able to stand up with her head held high, knowing that her husband accomplished amazing things even after death. So RIP to Chadwick Boseman, and I'm so happy that he won the awards because he was 100% deserving. And my runner-up for this category was Riz Ahmed, and I still think that he had an incredible performance in Sound of Metal. But like I said, so many other factors go into this, and Riz Ahmed will hopefully be able to get another opportunity to show us his incredible acting chops. else, and I look forward to seeing that, and I hope that he will get acclaim for that as well. Next up, we had a very surprising win in Andra Day winning for the United States versus Billie Holiday under the Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama category. I was shocked. I was shocked and surprised, to be honest. In my reaction to the nominees, I actually said that I wouldn't be surprised with any of the actresses winning in that category apart from Andra Day. Now, to be fair, I hadn't yet seen her performance in the film, and I have yet to see the film still, but I was very surprised. Like, out of all of those nominees, I didn't predict that she would be the one to win, but a huge congratulations to her. I think that is absolutely amazing. And of course, we must mention the fact that she is in fact the first Black actress to win in this category since Whoopi Goldberg did for The Color Purple in 1985. 1985. What? Listen, okay? Records like this are always bittersweet because on the one hand, I'm so happy that we're making progress. I'm so happy to see the fruits of the labor of people working towards better representation on screen and off screen in the film industry. I'm so happy to see that, and I'm so happy to see it be, rewarded. But on the other hand, it's 2021. Why are we still getting firsts and seconds and thirds and anything with a single digit number? Why are we still on that? We should be way past that. I find it crazy. 1985. You're telling me that there hasn't been an awards worthy performance by a Black actress since 1985 in this category? I would dispute that. I would very much dispute that because that makes no goddamn sense. Whatever. I'm happy to see that Andra Day won in this case, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing this film now. I really want to pay attention to her performance here. Apparently, it's the case where she's the best part of the film. Like, her performance really shines, whereas the rest of the film is kind of wobbly, okay, kind of rocky. And speaking of such a film, I was very surprised but excited to see that Rosamund Pike won for I Care a Lot under the Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy category. I didn't expect that either, although I hadn't seen I Care a Lot at the time that I made my reaction to the nominations, and I have seen it since then. You can check out my review of the film on my channel, but she was incredible. She was incredible in that film, so I'm very happy to have seen her won. I'm just surprised that she actually got acknowledged for her performance in the film because the rest of the film is it's kind of rocky, it's kind of shaky. Okay, so next up, let's talk about the big winner of the night for the film categories, and that was Nomadland, which won the Best Motion Picture Drama category as well as the Best Director category. Again, the first time in a very long time since a female director has won in that category. I believe the previous winner was Barbra Streisand in 1980 something, 1970 something. Again, we're talking about single digit numbers for these records. Single digit. No, she's the second female director to have won. Really? I swear this was the 78th Golden Globe ceremony. I swear this was the 78th Golden Globes. What? So I'm so happy that Chloe Zhao has won for Nomadland, and I'm very interested to see what she ends up doing in the MCU with the Eternals. I personally wasn't a fan of the film. It wasn't my favorite, okay, if I'm being honest, which is why I was shocked that it won for Best Motion Picture Drama too. I wasn't expecting that. It's not my cup of tea, okay? It's not my cup of tea, but still, I'm very happy to have seen Chloe win in this category. She is the first Asian female director to win in this category, so congratulations to her. Although, again, we shouldn't be dealing with first, seconds. It's 2021. Like, we need to get it together. Anyways, now, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of Nomadland, ultimately, in terms of the Best Motion Picture Drama category as a whole, there was nothing there that got my attention, if I'm being honest. Like, Nomadland won, and that's fine, okay, but there was nothing else that I was extremely passionate about winning over it. What I think should have won, had it been nominated, was Judas and the Black Messiah. Listen, I told told you guys when I made my nominations reaction video that I had only seen the trailer for Judas and the Black Messiah, but I guaranteed you that it deserved to not only be nominated for more awards, but to win them. And after seeing the film for myself with my very eyes, I was correct. It beats out every single film on this category. How did it not get nominated? How did it not get... They didn't watch it, that's why. And not only that, but you're telling me that I'm supposed to be shocked and surprised that there isn't a single black member of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association when they snubbed both Judas and the Black Messiah and I May Destroy You. We'll talk about that in a second. But where's the surprise? Where's the... Like, I know. I've already been knowing because... the evidence is there. All you have to do is pay attention. Next up, we did see Sacha Baron Cohen and his film Borat, subsequent movie film, dominate the musical and comedy categories for the film section, and you know, fine. That's fine. Although I will say, I personally predicted that Hamilton would dominate under these categories, but it makes sense that it didn't because I feel like the Hollywood Foreign Press Association didn't want to reward a play, a musical that was essentially filmed and then dropped onto Disney Plus as an actual film. So I get it, okay, even though personally I think it was the best film out of this entire lot. And I do think that Lin-Manuel Miranda's performance in Hamilton was the best out of this whole lot as well. But fine, he's already got Tonys, so the Hollywood Foreign Press Association was like, stay in your lane, goddammit. I will say though, for that millisecond before they announced the winner for, you know, best actor in a comedy or musical, my heart did skip a beat a little bit. My heart did skip a beat because I was like, what if James Corden wins? What if I'm in the darkest timeline and James Corden wins? But I wasn't, so it's okay, there's hope after all. I did of course want to mention the excellence, the brilliance of the Black British boys that went home with awards last night. Yes, we're talking about Daniel Kaluuya. We're talking about Daniel Kaluuya in Judas and the Black Messiah, who absolutely deserved that award. And I believe I said that he deserved the award even before seeing the film, just purely based on his performance in the trailer. And I stand by my words. He's excellent. I have no words. He's incredible. And you know who else is incredible? Lakeith Stanfield. He should have been nominated, but whatever, we're already past that. But I was also very happy to see John Boyega win under the TV categories for his performance in Small Axe, Red, White and Blue. He was phenomenal in that episode / movie as well, so I was very happy to see it. I loved both of their speeches, especially John Boyega's speech afterwards where he was like, I had no idea I was gonna win. He was just freaking out. So I was really happy to see it, honestly, seeing that Black British representation there, because they are excellent and I'm happy that they're getting acclaim and rewards for their amazing work. And lastly, for the film categories, before we dive into the TV shows, I will mention that I was slightly disappointed to see Minari win over Another Round. I think Another Round is an incredible film. To be fair though, I haven't seen Minari yet, so maybe if I see that film I'll think that it is very much justified in winning over Another Round. I feel like Minari very much benefited from a strong awards campaign from A24 though, so I think that's why it had a leg up over Another Round. But again, I haven't seen the film, so I can't judge it based off of its quality alone. Oh, and I almost forgot this, but Soul ended up winning for Best Animated Feature, much to no one's surprise. So congrats to Soul. It's an excellent film, and certainly in comparison to the rest of the lot, I mean, it just shines so much brighter. It shines so much brighter. And of course, the Disney monopoly over Best Animated Feature awards continues. Next up, let's talk about the TV shows where we saw The Crown dominate. The Crown dominated, and I already told you this would happen. I already told you the Hollywood Foreign Press Association love The Crown. Give them any reason to nominate The Crown and to vote for it, and they will. But then you take into account that this time around, season 4 was truly magnificent. Like, it was near note perfect. Of course it was going to win everything that it was nominated for, and that's exactly almost what happened, because it ended up winning Best Television Series Drama, and it ended up taking a ton of awards under the acting categories as well. We saw Emma Corrin win for Princess Diana and Gillian Anderson for her portrayal of Margaret Thatcher. picture. But what was particularly surprising out of this whole lot is that Josh O'Connor actually won for his role as Prince Charles in the series for Best Supporting Actor in a Television Series, and I was surprised to see that, even though I had predicted it. I'd mostly predicted it because it was one of the only performances that I had seen. So I was like, Josh O'Connor, because he is excellent in that series. But I was surprised to see that he actually won, because I had hesitated towards, you know, predicting him as a winner, because I thought there's no way that they're going to give all of the awards to The Crown, but they did. That's exactly what they did. And so we saw all three actors go home with those awards in their hands, and they're rightfully deserved because their performances on that show are truly excellent. And because we're going to be seeing a changing of the guard for the next season as the characters get older. And another set of wins that were pretty much on lock from the get-go would of course be the wins that The Queen's Gambit got for Best Performance by an Actress in a Limited Series and for Best Limited Series. Now, this is kind of a bittersweet development for me personally, because if you've seen my reviews on the Golden Globe nominations, then you'll know I was quite upset to see that Michaela Cole and I May Destroy You were not nominated for these categories. I think that was the huge snub of this year that many people had some pretty intense thoughts on, okay? So they very much shot themselves in the foot there. But anyways, I did want to acknowledge the incredible performance of Anya Taylor-Joy in The Queen's Gambit. I think she was wholly deserving of the award, and of course The Queen's Gambit itself won, which was great. I think it also was deserving of the award. I was a huge fan of all of the shows in that category, but I was very happy to see that The Undoing and indeed Nicole Kidman did not end up winning for those categories, because that would have been the one that would have been the straw that broke the camel's back for sure. And of course for the comedy and musical categories, we did see Schitt's Creek win for Best TV Series, Comedy or Musical. That was pretty much on lock as well. And of course Catherine O'Hara won for her performance on that show, which again was very much predictable. Although to be fair, I did expect some of the other cast members to win for their categories as well. But I was so shocked and surprised, pleasantly so, to see Jason Sudeikis win for Ted Lasso. I had the biggest smile on my face when that happened, because I think he is wholly deserving for his performance in Ted Lasso. I didn't expect that he would get acclaim for his role in that show, especially now because it's only had one season and the cast of Schitt's Creek had like 5 seasons, so I thought it would be like a send-off to give them a ton of awards for their work on that show. But Ted Lasso, right off the gate, like, he already is getting his acclaim, and it's very much deserved because, like I said, he is incredible in that show. So now that we've gone through all of the winners and the losers, let's just quickly talk about the telecast itself, because listen, I'm from the UK, so I didn't really get a chance to watch the whole awards live as they were happening. I was kind of following people on Twitter and looking at their posts and seeing what was going on, and not to mention it was very late. It was very late, or should I say early in the morning, so I wasn't really keeping up as much, but I did get a glimpse of the events and how they occur, and I think it is pretty impressive that they managed to get Tina Fey and Amy Poehler kind of presenting from 2 different coasts of the country, from the West Coast and the East Coast respectively. Like, that's pretty impressive. I did think that the live stream was quite shaky technology wise. Okay, there were incidents, and that was understandable, to be fair, because you're streaming from, you know, all different places in the country and indeed the world in the case of some of these actors. So I commend them for trying. I do think that they try their best to make it an event. I personally wouldn't say that I would have sat through the whole 3 hours of that event. Like, I would have been clicking on and off. But overall, when it comes to how they addressed the Hollywood Foreign Press Association controversies, I will say that once again, they very much highlighted one aspect of their controversies, that being that they weren't diverse enough, but they completely evaded, completely avoided talking about the other parts of the controversies, that being their, you know, eligibility and their legitimacy as a body, as well as, of course, the corruption claims. Like, they didn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, so it felt a little bit disingenuous in that way. But that's it from me. Now that I told you guys my thoughts on the Golden Globes 2021 winners, losers, and the controversies surrounding the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, it's time for you guys to let me know what you thought of all of this down in the comments below. Please be sure to subscribe to catch new videos coming up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.